There are thought to be around 33,000 urban foxes in Britain. Their numbers haven't really changed since the 1980s, but many experts argue their behaviour has. The RAC has told us it now regularly deals with breakdowns due to damage caused by animals, including by rats and foxes. And that's exactly what happened to one listener in Greenwich in South East London. Not once, but twice, and costing hundreds of pounds each time. Our reporter Rick Kelsey has been to meet her.
Bones pulled out the wheelie bin, evidence of a fox toilet in front gardens. Greenwich Park is an enormous wide space a few hundred metres away, but these foxes don't want to play there. There's more food coming out the kitchens and bins around here. Plus, there are warm cars. Cars? But what does a fox want with a car? Alison Thomas, alongside her enormous Motorbility vehicle, explains.
Every morning I get in the car, I dread turning on the engine and seeing the hazard warning light. It means I can't take my son to school, it means we're going to miss appointments, it means another 2 days in the garage, and it means another £400 repair bill. So I dread it.
Alison has had to replace the wiring on her wheelchair-accessible MPV twice already this year. It's cost her over £800. When she called the mechanic, she found out the wires, which are easily accessible underneath, had been chewed by foxes. She was told it was a common problem, as accessible cables are sometimes covered in animal fat or similar products to seal them. Now, taking her disabled son to school involves an early morning check for warning lights.
They are an enormous problem. We have a lot of urban foxes. They get fed by some of the families on our street. They are out and about, virtually in packs at night, howling and causing nuisance.
So what did you actually see when you got in the car? Was it a light that came on?
There was a flashing warning light, which when we checked the handbook was the engine management system, but it's actually one of the sensors to the exhaust.
When you went down to the garage, they told you what the problem was. And what did they say was the reason behind them wanting to do it?
The mechanic at the garage said that they cover some of the cabling under the car with an animal-based grease or fat, which makes it very attractive to wild animals, and that they think it's a known problem.
So this is like a fox kebab?
It is a fox kebab. Obviously, when the engine's hot and you pull the car in at night, it drives foxes crazy. There's got to be some incentive for them chewing a wire or a cable, and I can only think they've gone for the same cable twice. It's got to be the fox kebab.
Do you blame the vehicle itself for this type of problem, or do you blame the fact that actually this is actually a fox problem, not a vehicle problem, because maybe local people are feeding foxes, food's available for them? I can see the bins over here, they're right next to your car. Mm-hmm. Could you not move your bins away maybe?
Well, my bins are sealed, they're wheelie bins. The foxes can't get in the bins, so I don't see that it's going to attract them. Urban foxes are a huge problem in London and lots of our cities. But I also think it's a manufacturing problem. There is something about these cables that attracts foxes. Foxes wouldn't be attracted to chew something for no reason at all.
Now, we've spoken to Volkswagen, who make Alison's car, and they are very clear. They say they do not use animal fat to seal vehicle wires, and cases like this are uncommon to VW vehicles. In addition, they've offered to look into Alison's case personally. We've also got a familiar face on the drive, Mike the mechanic from the RAC, who's become a regular visitor. Right, let's just get down on the ground and have a look at this wiring question. So what are we seeing?
At the moment we're looking at the exhaust system, and what we're looking for is the exhaust gas temperature sensor, as it said on the computer, and as you can see it's fully exposed. Being the type of vehicle it is, it's quite high off the floor, it's got plenty of access for any animal to get underneath.
I mean, I can actually, just from the side, reach down and touch that wire, so...
Yeah, so you can imagine the size of animal, or any animal could get underneath. That's what tells me it's more likely to be a fox than a rat.
I was going to say, you don't get rats that big in Greenwich, do you?
Hopefully not.
How common a problem is this?
I wouldn't say it was majorly common, but I'd say this year I've probably been to at least 3 or 4 different jobs with the same fault, where animals chewed the wiring.
Some people who've contacted us are saying that it's because of animal fat that's used to seal the cables underneath. Have you come across that?
when I looked at other jobs, I thought, well, why would they chew it? And there must be some sort of, cause the wiring casing, it's got to have something in it that's going to attract an animal. Possibility of animal fat would explain it fully.
But we're not sure.
Well, going by the article I read, it said use of animal fats, and I wasn't fully aware of animal fats. I thought it might have been some sort of chemical, but being an animal fat will attract any animal.
Alison was told she'd have to pay for the repairs herself because it's considered to be accidental damage. Motorbility, the charity Alison bought the car through, have told you and yours they're aware of a handful of cases of fox and rodent damage to their cars, and arrangements for getting them fixed are managed on a case-by-case basis. And now, after a few days out of sight, the skulk is back.
It's back to normal. Unfortunately, last night I could hear the foxes screeching at the front, in the front garden and on the drive, so it could happen again any time.
Alison Thomas ending Rick Kelsey's report, and we were already hearing from some of you who can add to the list of these cases. EU, I'm not sure how that's pronounced, Barbier, says, my father parks his car in a car park in Paris during the week. Some unidentified animals bit through some wires and diesel leaked out. There was a big chunk of wire missing. And we've also heard from Julian Fack, who says, my grandfather's daft estate was written off when he left his two Springer Spaniels alone. They ate the steering wheel, the dashboard, the front seats. Nothing was left undamaged. Beat that.